and we are live. So, welcome to today's stream. Due to not only the answer in my community poll, well, not poll, community post, wanting people wanting Sonic 1 to come back, it's also something I've been working on. So I was like, hey, why not work together on stream? I'm gonna mute the stream that I have up on my second monitor. And, Ponzi, I've been doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. How was everyone's day here so far? But, hello, Tales Reverie. But, I prepared some assets. There's going to be some stuff that we're going to be doing on our own. Well, in the stream, I mean. But we got the Green Hill Zone tile set here. And then we got the animation tile here. Although, what I am going to do... copy that and paste it down here. And, what's it called? The reason why we're putting it down here is so we can match up the rest of the frames of the animation that is seen here. Since some remakes don't do this because the spreadsheet just doesn't reference it whatsoever. But this pink flower will occasionally bob up and down. But since we got that there, going to do a little something to mark, hey, we know this is a thing. So we'll make that flower completely yellow, and then this flower completely pink. And doing this just makes the tile these tiles basically unusable since they're not actual tiles, and that allows us to reference these animation ones down here. What is something you realized about Marble Zone? But while we wait for that response, there's a few things we gotta do, here. First of all, if you take a look here, and actually let's grab Mezen, which is an emulator, you see that this white color repeats itself. Hello, Axel Boy, welcome to the stream. But as you see... Uh-oh. Seems like I was missing one of those whites. Oop. So we're gonna go back to Tools, Debug, Palette Viewer. Now we got our color palette. Now we see we have two whites, but these three colors go to go to the water palette cycle. But I'm gonna read chat real quick. Why must the devs not like Marble Zone? Because that just seems really strange. Because if they didn't like it, why would they put it in the game? But, while we wait for a response, I'm going to be selecting all tiles that are affected by the water changing palette. And we're going to change these colors here shortly. Lots of these, chunks repeat, but, look how this is structured. It is structured as in a 32 by 32 instead of an 8 by 8. Yes, it wasn't in, Sonic 1 for the Sega Master System, but there could be a few more reasons along with that. They had the track already, if I'm correct. It is in the game files. It is in the game files. it could be a case that they didn't have enough time or got started sooner, since the Sega Master System version has so many, a few zones that weren't seen in the Genesis release. Gotta move something out of the way so I can see the messages properly. There we go. Adjust this a bit, and there we go. So now we got all these selected. We gotta select the color that is unseen throughout the entire sprite sheet here. What I usually do is I go for a magenta when I do stuff like that. There we go. Make that. We're just gonna copy and paste this along. We're going to subtract, let's say 20 from that. Same thing here. And then this one, we subtract 20 again. So we got 210, and then a 210. So now we got these three colors, which we go and replace right here. So now these are all colors that will not show up. And actually, let me make this 245, 245, because 255 is an RGB value. I'd like a Sonic one for the Sega Master System. I enjoy it a decent bit. But now we got our tiles here. We're going to remove that. And now we're going to do something a little special. We're going to call this color output. Fix my spelling mistake here. There we go. We got something called color output. We're going to have to make this an indexed sprite. So we're going to make that transparent. Sprite, color mode, indexed. And there we go. What is your question, Tails Reverie? So now, this last blue color, as seen in here, it is going to be accounting for the sky. But since we're going to have a separate color in the background for the sky, it will be transparent for now. And the same comes with the player's color layer. And now we got this thing, which I like to call my debug palette. All the colors are here. I need to actually tweak this image a bit. No. If you answering your question, if I want a tile map in my game, Sonic Wind, will the whole sprite sheet have to be a hedgehog platform? The answer to that is no. If you're having sprite sheets and using the tile map system, you will, how do I put this? There will be some errors. Yes, there will be some errors, and GDevelop, when it does collisions for tile maps, it only does full boxes. So you would be unable to use like dynamic slope, stuff like that. So that's why in all of my projects, and you see a lot of projects do this too, they have the collision be separate from the tile set. But now, we got our debug colors. Well, not really debug. These are the colors that we're putting into the game. Okay. So now we're going to duplicate this layer. And then we're going to do game input. And now we gotta go and match all of these colors up, with where they are on these, on this top section here. That is the wrong color. There we go. That's a black. Just gonna do that already. And all we gotta do right now is replace these colors. And yes, it's going to look bad. But that is fine because we will be changing the color in engine. So we get all these colors set up. This is for yellow. I already did black, and now we got white. So now, this is what the game engine will see. Yeah, it does kind of look a bit spooky. But the reason why the game sees it like this is because we're having it all be one color so we can dynamically change it without having any issues. So now, we need to make an actual project. We can't store these files anywhere if we don't have a place for said files. So create new game. Ignore the AI stuff. It is I have this image right here actually. Canvas size. It is 256 by 192. Okay. I'm gonna name this S1 SMS palette system. And then we're gonna put the same thing down here. Optimize it for pixel art, and then create a new game. While we're here, we're gonna go to Documents. We're gonna go to my Game Engine projects. I'm gonna go to GDevelop, and right here, I'm gonna delete that. And now we got our file, so we're gonna make a folder called Assets. And then we're going to have another folder called Source. And having the underscore in front of it, make sure it will go on top of whatever's under. Ooh, you worked loop physics. Do you have any, like videos of that at all so we can see it? But, we're gonna get our folder structured. I'm gonna get a folder called underscore palette system related. I'm gonna grab a new folder called graphics. I'm gonna get audio. So we get players. Objects, tile sets, and debug. On the 30th, that sounds alright to me. I'll make sure to check it out when the time comes. Now, we're gonna grab our game output sprite. I'm gonna export it as a PNG. Head to our folder. We're gonna pin this. We're gonna go to Assets, Palette System Related, Game Output. We're gonna hop into GDevelop, set up grid. We're gonna make it be 32 by 32. And we're gonna make sure it is showing. Also, congratulations, Tales of Reverie. And now we're gonna need to set up our layers. So we can have our layers be whatever we want, but on this top layer, what I'm going to do, call it Game Output. I'm gonna make sure these are strictly 2D. So we're gonna delete all of these effects. Apply. And we're just gonna make sure these are strictly 2D. Alright. That would be fun, but I'd focus on, like, right now, if this is your first game, I'd focus on, like, basic platforming first. And then, let's say if you make a sequel, then you'd focus on, like, the more of the extra gimmicky stuff. Like combat, like you said there. Why is this song so happy sounding? Well, no, this is a fun looking playlist that I decided to play. So we got our spreaders resource tab, we got the level maps, which we won't be using this stream. Yes, I have tried Sonic Rumble. I personally like it, I find it fun, but I hate the fact that all the microtransactions in the game. Like, no one should be, like, paying, like, $40 for a single skin. $40 USD, for example. Now we're going to add an object. Sprite. I'm going to call this game output. I'm going to go to assets, palette system related, game output. Okay. We got our game output. And we're just going to place it right here. Nothing will be in front of it. But actually, what I'm going to do is open something, since I don't fully remember how I did this. So we're gonna go to my NES palette thing. Okay. Alright. Good to know. So we're gonna go right back here. And now I see why I did that. So, bottom right corner is usually completely out of the way. So I always put it here, and now we can lock that layer. We will not be using this layer at all for the rest of time. So now, what we want to do, add a few extensions. Here we go. We're going to get Recolor. We're going to install that to project. I want to see if we can get something for tile maps. Nope. We're going to have project. Actually, project to sprite. Renders an object layer and puts it in the resulting image into a sprite. We're going to get that. And we're not going to focus on physics. And welcome, Saturn Comics. Yes, I do. Okay. So now we got two sprites. Well, we got two extensions. Recolorizer, which is, we'll be using this to recolor. And then we got render to sprite, which we'll be using that to render the entire scene to the thing. I'm going to put recolorizer on this object, and hopefully it works. No. This is not an every other week thing. I was just busy last week, so I couldn't stream. But you got a scene here. I'm gonna make this a global object. Yes. So we got our global object. Going to grab this. I'm gonna make another text here and just call it camera. And put it in the exact same spot. Move it up a tiny bit. Okay. And there we go. Now we got game output and camera. I'm going to add a stroke. Wait for it to load. It does its thing. We're going to merge these. I'm going to add this color. I'm going to make the tile background a different color. So we're going to use these colors for camera. Export as PNG. Game camera. Actually, let me check my streams. Let me fact check you on your statement. So I'm gonna go to view my channel. Let me take a look at my live streams. Okay. So yeah, I guess you're right about that. I guess I just haven't been feeling good, and then being busy, stuff like that. And also, wow, we went up by a subscriber, since I started the stream. We're now at 250. Okay. So now we got game output. We're going to duplicate this. Name it game camera. And the reason why we're having a separate object for the camera is that this object will go to wherever the camera needs to be. It will be on the base layer. And we're just going to move it up there for now. This will have the opacity of 0. Do I have the old username from my old Scratch account? I don't think I do, and I'm not in the mood to look right now. But now we got our stuff here. I'm gonna do export. Export as... Actually, no. Save as. We're gonna go to Assets, Graphics, Tile Sets. So we're gonna have Green Hill Zone. Dash... Actually, no. _1. What do you mean you need help creating a free cam, Tales Reverie? Yes, I do use Sprite. It's a useful tool. And it just makes it amazing for, like, tile maps, stuff like that. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna name this Green Hill... Actually, no, Tiles _ GHZ. Grab our Atlas image. I'm gonna choose a file. I'm gonna go to Assets, Graphics, Tile Sets. Grab our Green Hill Zone image. And now we got it here. We're going to put it down there. And just draw something. Okay. That's an interesting camera scheme. So it's kind of like you pressing that button relocks the camera and then locks it on the Sonic. It'd be a good question. I'd have to look into on how to do that. And did that subscriber count go back down? Or did it not refresh on there? No, it went up again. Oh. Well, thank you everyone for subscribing. Okay. So, the reason why we have both layers is so that we can go here, save as, and then we can overwrite this for now, so we can actually see color into the image. So right now we're going to draw a little scene. Nothing too complicated. Just something that'll get the job done. Got our... Where is it? Where is the sprite of it being at the very top? Or is that not a sprite I could use? I don't know, actually. That's a side panel. Okay. Scrap those tiles. Just gonna have a nice little line here. Sprinkle in some dips. Tower section. Well, not really a tower section, but you guys understand what I mean, I hope. I'm gonna have this extend upwards a tiny bit. And I'm gonna put it back here. Put that there. And move that section forward a tiny bit. So, boom. Kind of like that. Looking back at the chat. Yeah, I'd say that would be a good idea on how to do it, Tales of Reverie. I don't know why, but those tiles feel super big right now. Oh well. Going to have that there. And plant a tree up here. Actually, no, down here. Find the next part of the tree. Boom. Have the water. And right now, I'm trying to get as much tiles as I can. So we can just see everything in action. Since we have that animating flowers, I want to see that in action. And we got the trees. We got everything kind of unique over here. I'm gonna actually put the animating flowers over here. So we can have this dip part move over here. Erase that. Grab this. You can have this slope up a bit. What else can we put down? The totem poles. Yeah, physics do get buggy. But that's just how things are sometimes. You always gotta be prepared for anything to happen. Okay. Now I got the mountains in the background. I can prepare the water. So now we got some water in here too. Actually remove this one. That'd be a good... Okay, this one's more of a center. And this one's like the edge. Yeah. Okay. Put that there. I'm gonna replace this tile with this one. This one more gradual. I would have to see how your script is laid out. You can always upload a video on it and I can comment to help you. But sometimes things bug out and you just need a second look on it to figure out what's going on. Now, right here, we got our tiles. These tiles are all going to be in the background, so we can just set it to 0. Okay. So now we got our tiles here. And since it's all laid out how we want to, we can show this, and we can save it once again. And while we're here, we're going to save this as a, go here, source, Green Hill Zone, and make this an A-sprite file, so we can always come back here later. I'm going to go here, actually to my documents, grab our Sonic sprite, and this one already has all of its animations set up too. What we can do, map, undo, set this to a transparent, go here, remap. A-sprite's weird sometimes. Okay, sprite, color mode, RGB. Sprite, export, sprite sheet. And here we go. Hello Drew. Welcome to the stream. Right here, we got all the Sonic sprites. I'm gonna go grab this color palette and bring it up here to my second monitor so it's not in the way of our stream. This color is a useless color. So is this one. These colors do not appear in the sprite. And same with this one, I think. The only colors we have is the two blues, the white and gray, the skin tone, and black. Since of the way it was encoded for Sonic 1, Sonic sprites can only use a total of 8 colors, including transparency. This was, however, fixed in, well, however, changed in other games in the series. So now we got our whites. We need to get our reds. So I'm going to go here. Copy that. And hopefully... Nope. Okay. What I can do, actually... Close that. File. New. Have it be whatever. And we're going to do master. And there we go. Now we just got the Master System palette up here. I'm going to check, see what ID this color is. It is 82. Well, okay. So it's the darkest red. Goes here. Extend that out more. Now we need the bright red. That sky blue color. That is usually later used as a skin color for Sonic. Not a skin color, an additional fur color for Sonic later on. Okay. Making sure this is the right color. Yep. Copy that, paste that there. And now we got yellow. And that is currently the entire palette for Sonic. This is going to be made transparent, and these have no color assigned. Okay, responding to Tails' Reveries message. How do you change the color of Sonic shoes, knowing that they have the same color of Ophir, muzzle, and chest to change the shoe color on their own? Of how the later games, like Sonic 2 for example, they're able to use more colors, since it's coded like the is encoded like the rest of the sprites, so you can use all available 16 colors in the sprite layer. Sonic sprites here can only use 7, so you physically can't get a red here without changing another one of these colors. The Game Gear version had the same color scheme, but instead of having this like darker tan, they replaced it with red. But I have no intention in changing anything from the original. We're going to delete these junk colors here. Now we have all of our sprites, and that is wrong. So what I'm going to do, bring my files up, since I'd done something very similar. We're gonna go to my recycling. Don't know what I have in there. That's the thing. And I can move it up here before any of you guys can see it. Wow, it is just a bunch of junk in here. It's nothing too bad. See? Where is it? Sort by, date deleted. There we go. Restore this. So now I restored the fun little file that we needed earlier. So we go back here, go back to gdevelop, we got this. I forgot when I originally exported the GIF, I lost some of the spin dash frames, even though the spin dash is not a part of the original game. How do I get my wallpaper? Okay. How do I get my wallpaper to animate? I use something called Wallpaper Engine. It's like 10 bucks. I've had it for like 5-6 years now, I think. It's a really fun tool. Anyways, we now got our thing, so we're gonna go back to source, paste. And now we're just gonna do player _ Sonic. I'm gonna rename this to tileset _ Green Hill Zone. So now we got our Sonic player. And it's, uh-oh. It opened a new window. Okay. We're just gonna go here. Go here. We're gonna go to our source files and grab player Sonic. We're going to delete that layer. Game input. Actually, no, we want delete that layer. Color output is the exact same. But we have a few things that have changed. We're going to get Sonic's actual palette in here. And then we want to get our grays. Online matches for next stream? Yeah, I can. I do enjoy Sonic Rumble, so it's not going to be like an issue for me to do that. So now we're going to duplicate the layer. Name this to game input. And now we just replace colors as needed. This becomes that. That becomes this. And we're just going to go down the line and replace the colors as they go along. Yes, this makes the sprites completely cursed looking and like just incorrect colors, but that's kind of what we want. We want these to be out of place so we can actually go in and change them when we actually start playing. I'm gonna make these transparent. So we're gonna save this. Now we're gonna export, actually no, import sprite sheet. I think it was 48 by 48 for the canvas size. And now we're gonna go here, save as. We're gonna go to Assets, Graphics, Players, New, Sonic. I'm gonna have this be base. Okay. So player Sonic base, Sonic base _ animations _1.png. I don't see how it looks like 2017. I read that as 2011. Yeah, I kind of see it actually. But now that we got our Green Hill Zone tiles, we're going to make a new sprite. and make this our Sonic object. Now we're just gonna have him be striking his idle pose. So we're gonna set this to Sonic. Make this loop. Set that to 6. And we're just gonna place him down somewhere in the scene. We're gonna set up grid, make it 8 by 8. And there we go. That is a strange remix. Because I've heard that sample before. What? You can't call him Zesty. That's weird. But that gif is so iconic, I can't blame you. So, we're looking here. We got our colors in here. It just looks a bit weird. So we're gonna go here. Grab this color. And make one more sprite, which is just purely this background color. We can make the canvas size be 32 by 32. And we're going to export this as game background. The reason why we have our own separate background is because our sprite snapshot will not include the default GDevelop background color. It has to be a different thing. So we're going to make another thing. Actually, move our layers around. And then a background color. Go here. Make a new object. And we're going to make it a tiled. Choose file. We're going to go to assets. Palette system related, and game background. Game background. And since we're on this layer, it does not interfere with anything else. I'm gonna lock that. I'm gonna stretch this all the way across. This layer does not move, so we can leave it as is. So now we look here, it is quite dark. The palettes seem super weird. So what we're going to do, we're going to hover our camera object over that. And I'm going to save it, open reset, and head to my NES. And let me explain to what this does. So instead of using the sprite recolorizer, I just use GDevelop events. Not events, what's it called? Effects. And you see, it's kind of like the same system here, but I do the tiles differently. So if we go to game output, actually no, it wasn't there, it was in the layer. All of the stuff here is all the colors that it can display. But to optimize it a bit, we're using the other thing. So how this works, it changes the tint of the sprite object to whatever that's here, to whatever it is, it becomes that tint. Then it changes the default color values. Then it renders it to a sprite. So what we're going to do, we're going to copy this, and while we put it in, I'm going to explain it to you. Alrighty. Now that we're here, let's put that here. We don't need to have that. Okay. Game camera. That sets there. And it goes here. And then after it renders to this. Okay, so basically what this does it changes the position of the camera. Sets the camera position to the base layer and image output. To the game's camera. So now that both of these are at game camera center, then it renders the current scene into game output. After that, it changes the X position and Y position of the camera and sets the game output, so it looks at here. And then this just keeps on repeating. So, if we just press play, uh-oh. I need to set the camera to like Z order 10 or something. And there we go. So if we were to put the camera right here, for example, we only see half of the game. Okay. So now we get to do the fun part. We're gonna have this go. We're gonna go to game output. We have all of that stuff. Now where is the color? That was condition. That's why I couldn't find it. Wait, no, I was wrong. Okay. Game output. Behaviors. Sprite recolorizer. And then that doesn't have that. Okay. Now where is the recolor? There it is. So first we're going to reset the color. And then we're going to change the color to... So we're going to grab the origin color. Which... let's say... What's something that should stand out? Let's get Sonic's, what color that would be Sonic's. So we're going to grab this color. So we're going to do Q, put that to 0, 0, 0. We're going to have the original color. And then we're going to have... What's it called? Then we're going to get his blue color. So we're going to copy that and then place it here. So now, when we load it, it doesn't work. I think I know why that is. I'm gonna set that to 100. Okay. Why does this not work? Alrighty. Let me think here. The sprite recolorizer is probably not working. So what we're going to have to do, even though I didn't want to do this, we're gonna go to game objects, we're gonna go to effects, and then we're gonna have to do this all via effects. So what we're going to do, we're gonna do a color replace, set that to 0. New color we'll keep as our blue. And we're going to set that as the old. And if we run this, it'll be fine. Wait a second. Huh. I have to turn off my Steam notifications. But, okay. Game output just doesn't seem to be working. Alrighty. I'm gonna have to press hide on the camera. And this is what I like streaming here for, is so that we can like figure out these issues together. I'm going to do object camera, hide. Put that here. Okay. Does it have to be done via the effects in the, like, whatchamacallit? So we're gonna go here, paste, and apply. We do not want to add a new layer. Press confirm, set this to 2D, and once we run, huh, that is strange. I want to take a screenshot here, place him here, so we grab his color of his blue, going to go here. That's set properly. That's set properly. Let's set this to 1. Apply. Strange. If we grab game output, put it here. Alright. So that's working. Alright. Is it working? Move game output right here. Uh-oh. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. That was going to trigger something. Alright, so let's see what's wrong here. We didn't have the layer. That's what it was. So we're gonna go to game output, game output, game output, and then game output. That's why it wasn't working. I just had a simple issue. I was trying to center the camera to something that just didn't exist. So we're gonna delete that. Come back here. And now, we're going to try that recoloring again. Reset color. And then we're going to recolorize. And set the origin color to Control Shift V is Windows V. I grab that number. Then I go here, grab the Sonic color, and press here. So now, in theory, it should work. I'm gonna set these to 0. And then, no. Disable that. Effects, 2D, color replace. New color, boom. Old color, here. Let's try this. Alright. Maybe set that to 0. Okay. So it seems like the color, like object recolorizer just does not work. For this, what I'm trying to do here. So if we disable that, well, re-enable it, go back to untitled scene, and then we're going to game output, effect, enable object effect. We're going to enable, no. Okay. Seems like having this here seems to kind of break it. Alrighty. Let's do some math here then. So we're going to get a calculator. If we were to do this a different way, we would have 16 effects for just a single palette. multiply that by 2. That is 32 effects just to get this alone. Then if we go times that by 2 again, if we were to have like an alternate palette, which is how some games like get away with underwater palettes, that'd be 64 effects. So we're going to dive into Recolorizer, open an editor. Then we're going to go to Sprite Recolorizer. Okay. I'm gonna have these 2 effects open. Not effects, external events. So, render to object. Alright. There we go. What does this do? Constants or variables? And if... Okay, let me try to translate this. So... Okay. Constant, variable. I think constant is variable. It's setting stuff. Then if runtime scene, recolorizer extension. Good question. So we're gonna have wait. What happens if we make the game wait a second? Just have it go halt, stop it. Nothing happens. Oh. Okay. So it's trying to... Alright. Render scene. Alrighty. So it seems like this does not allow us to do what we want. And effects are clunky to use. So what I'm going to do is just think for a moment. We can't use the object recolorizer, so that it doesn't work. So if we go here, we're going to go to recolor. This is the only thing here, and it's only for objects. And since we have an object that doesn't actually have a texture, since we replace it, it's just not happy. Okay. Temporary texture. Okay. It seems like we can't use the recolorizer for this. So now we're gonna have a bunch of fun with effects. We only need them to be on this object. So here we go. Sprite, actually no. Palette. Sprite. Yeah, palette. Sprite. Normal. ID 00 norm. Okay. The code is iffy and I can't really understand it. I haven't learned JavaScript. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to do the long and potentially expensive way is using object effects. Since Recolorizer doesn't work with a render to sprite. And Recolorizer doesn't work with tile maps. And to avoid having all these extra effects, we have it rendered to all this object. Which is something you shouldn't do when you're doing normal stuff. But since we rely heavily on recolorizing effects, it would be super inefficient to have it all rendered to have all 64 effects that we're gonna have to use be rendered to the same few layers. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna lock all of these layers and we're just gonna focus on here. I'm gonna do it on the sprite because the sprite has a smaller scale. There's something in my foot. There we go. Got it. So now we got our codes here. Which I'm actually... No, we're gonna keep norm at the end. Since we're gonna have to have an alt version of all of these. Okay. Now we gotta do the long fun process. I'm gonna rename this FG PAL ID and then have this be norm. Alright. That's my chair. Anyways. We have all of these colors here. If we copy that, we can paste that here. And then we're going to have to get that sky blue that is used. Which I think it's this color right here. So now, if you press apply, ignore Photoshop for a second, we run this, now we got the background color. And we're going to have to do this over and over and over again. But there is one thing we gotta do. We need groups. FG layer. Actually, no. Sprite palette. Okay. So now we got the sprite palette. So anything in the sprite palette, we're going to render. Well, we're going to change the tint of it. So tint color. Let's go with a red. That's not red red. We want red red. So we're going to tint these sprites to a deep red. It's kind of hard to see. Okay. Maybe it wasn't a bad idea to have additional numbers here. Okay. No, that just makes it more of a faded red. Okay. That goes up here. So now the sprite palettes have their own tint to them. And just allows for, easier access and stuff. Originally, when I was doing the debug stuff, I used red. Ooh. Pixel art's always fun. I love doing pixel art. I do it a lot if you couldn't tell. Anyways. I'm gonna go back to our object. Variables, sectional effects. And now we gotta do the same thing over again. going to do color replace. I'll set this to 1. Copy this color. Put that there. Since this is a foreground, we're just going to use Sonic's default palette here. So now, if we were to, in theory, press it... Oh god. I did something wrong there. Always make sure this number is 0. So now only colors that have that part will be colored as you see here. We're going to actually name this to BG and BG. Apply. We're going to go to Green Hill Zone and do it like this instead. So I'm going to grab that, place that here. So now, if we were to actually run it, it would display the correct color. We're going to add a 2D effect, and just continue going down the line. Set it to color replace. What I want our new color to be this. We set our bottom color to be this. So now if we run a preview, you get the point now. That as I go on, more colors... What do you mean you're doing controller pixel art? Are you doing pixel art with your controller, or are you making pixel art of a controller? These are the big questions here. But, while I'm going through this process, is there anything interesting that chat wants to talk about? Since I got a few interesting things, but I want to make sure you guys had your room to share what you have on your mind, stuff like that. Alrighty. 2. What do you mean by 2? Anyways, while we're doing this, since no one is really saying anything, I'll just stop what I'm saying when someone does say something, like story-wise. But let me explain the Sega Master System a bit. It has, it can display up to 32 colors at once. There are techniques to display more. Oh, that's cool to hear, Tales Reverie. They're making art of a controller. I don't know if the stream showed the live chat or not. Well, still. I mean, I don't know if, like, re-uploads of the stream... Well, not re-uploads. The actual video of the stream shows the chat, like, once the stream's actually finished. But... what's it called? It can show... What's it called? The 2 palettes of the Sega Master System are the sprite palette and the background palette. The background can use either of the color palettes, so it can use the foreground palette as well. So that allows the background to use the full 32 colors available. What do you mean it doesn't, Tales Reverie? Backspace that. Set this to 6. Set this to color replace. Boom. Place that there. This here. Oh, it doesn't. Huh. That's strange. I wish it did, but it's fine. Gonna delete that. Set those to 1 like I was supposed to. As you see, as we continue going, it becomes a lot more like Green Hill. What's it called? Like, I was planning on, like, doing, like, a soft reboot. I had a lot of things in mind. I'd be changing up my voice, changing up my, Sona, changing up how I do these streams. It's gonna look really nice, trust me. But, that is going to happen in time. And I'll make sure to have the chat reply, like, on the actual stream itself. I just need to learn how. Okay. I'm gonna get effect. Replace this to lift that. Name it 7. We're just gonna go down the line, get all of these renamed. Since doing it all one by one, yes, it works, but it feels slower. We're gonna go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Sorry, my chair once again. I'm gonna set these all to color replace. When I scroll back to the top, GDevelop's gonna yell about having a lot of effects. Uh-oh. Your color map, not color replace. I've tried using the color map. It seems way more useful. But I just haven't, gotten it to work. Okay. Now all these are color replaced. Uh-oh. I'm gonna copy, paste, make this 0. Copy. Boom. Actually, while we're here, I'm gonna go down the line and make all of these 0s. But, back to what I was saying, this Sega Master System can display up to 32 colors at a time. Colors are usually reused in palettes, like you've seen with the water cycle, for example. Okay. That's just like a lot of older games tend to do that because of their limitations. Okay. We're just going down the line. And just continuing on. So in theory, when we are completely done, we would have all these colors be properly working. So just going to continue on. But, speaking about the color palette, some of the Sega Master System games were able to display like a Labyrinth Zone for Sonic 1 that's able to display an underwater palette. But I think I know how it works. But I'd have to do some research on it before I say for sure. I think what Sonic 1 does, and like all the other Sonic games, in Green Hill Zone, like when you're underwater, it shows like a checkerboard pattern. But here's the thing, the water level in that, the water level for that appears at different heights. So it makes it impossible, well, not really impossible, but with how Labyrinth Zone does it, you're able to change the color palette. uh, changes the palette, but I think what it does scan lines. Uh, so basically, it renders out a row. So what Sonic, so Green Hill Zone, when you're underwater, has a checkerboard pattern, and the HUD, well, in the background layer appears in front of the player, and all sprite objects. Act 2 does have the water, or you can actually go underwater. What else? I have to fix these tiles down here. But in Labyrinth Zone, let's actually look at the maps real quick. Let's head to Green Hill Zone, Act 2. As you see, the water level here, it changes, and it's kind of like dynamic and everything. But if you go to Labyrinth, actually no, we can use the Jungle Zone as well, since it's done here too. It does its thing. I think the water like animation here is done with that. So these waterfalls are either solid or checkered. This water up here, I think, is checkered. Let me check real quick. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, but you see, Jungle Zone, of how it's water done, it's also checkered. Since once again, it appears at different levels. But if we go here, to Labyrinth Zone, you go, hold up, it completely changes the palette. And I believe these water objects are actual sprites that appear above the background layer. So as you go on, oh, it's an actual water palette. So what it does, it renders out each 8x8 section, or it could do like each line. So as it renders, it starts from the top left, goes all the way to the right, renders that pixel row. Then it goes down by one and just repeats. But when it goes to render the water, it changes palette and then continues rendering the rest. And that's how you can theoretically have more than the 32 colors you were able to have. Did the music stop? Oh, the music stopped. There we go. And that's how you could theoretically have more than the 32 colors that you're able to use, because there is, like, other stuff going on here. I'd have to see how they do the waves, though. And yeah, it's right here. The wave object. So as it goes on, it switches palette and then continues running the rest in the underwater palette. But you physically cannot do that like when the water's at different levels, because you can't stop rendering a line mid-line to change the palette. So it does it this method. Fourth hour being awake. That's fun. It used to be like that when I was starting streaming here. Since I've actually had a job, I've broken that habit. It was a good habit to break too. But, as you see here, this is all correct. What I'm going to do is keep it as is. I'm going to have another object. Screen resolution. Have this be pure green. And then partially transparent. So I'm going to set this to 50. Export. I'm going to make this image, canvas size, 32 by 32. File, export, quick export as PNG. Game. Oh, actually, no. palette alt. So in order to replicate, yes, if I ever finish this, I'll be releasing it to the public. And even if I don't finish the game itself, I'm going to be releasing the palette system to the public. Okay. So we're going to need to make a new object. Another tiled sprite. I'm going to have this be palette. Actually no, I'm just going to have it be palette for now. We're going to do... Where is it? Set as a global object. And I'm going to have do game alt palette. There we go. Choose file. Palette alt. So we're going to unlock this. Move the camera out of the way. Actually set this to like 20. No, 50. We will never use the number 50. So we got all our sprites here. I'm going to drag this in. That is on the wrong layer. There we go. Drag this in. Make the Z order. I said make that 50, please. There we go. Z order here, make it like 5. So as we like actually bring that over, you see it only, oh, it's because the camera's up here. It only recolors the objects above this water. So anything that appears behind this water object does not take affect the color thing. What we're going to do is make this 25% opacity. Quick export. Palette alt. Yes. I'm trying to make that as bright, well, as soft as possible, so we can actually still make out the colors underneath. Alright. You can still see the partial red. Is it the same color, or is it actually different? Okay, this right here is our white. If we go here, our white becomes a different color. So we use this, like for its own thing. But what we're going to do is grab this. Actually, no, we're going to go to a sprite. We're going to do this. Well, since I don't want to mess with making new colors, make that color. I make the black the darkest color. And there we go. Still got the same effect, but you get the point. But actually, we're going to delete that. File, open. I'm going to head to Documents. What is going on? We are currently working on using the palette itself. We're going to delete the white and the black. Then, I'm going to do the exact same thing and make this brightest color the white. And make the darkest color the black. But if you look here, Ethan, we're working on making the color palette work. You got our game output, you got our camera. And everything that is not blocked by the screen does the correct palette. The water is pink because we haven't done the palette system yet. So everything under here, it's still its normal finger quote colors. Okay. So I'm going to screenshot this. And we're going to... New... Whatever. View Guides. New guide to layout. Columns. 4. Alrighty. So I'm going to change up how we're doing the color. So instead of it being, oh, it's going to be default, the Green Hill Zone palette. Why are you creeped out, Ethan? I'm not too scary, am I? What we're doing here is going to go to Sprite. Actually, Sprite, color mode, indexed. Okay. Alright, that works how I want it to work. Now we're going to do edit, adjustment, hue saturation. Okay, that works how I wanted it to. So we want like a yellow. Oh, portable DVD players. They have a rough life. How long have you guys had that portable DVD player, if you don't mind me asking? Alright, right here we're gonna go for a yellow color. Have that be 55. And while we're here, I'm gonna hop back into GDevelop and change these colors. And just change them to be this yellow color. Yes, once again, I'm ruining the palette system. Well, the Green Hill Zone colors. But you gotta do something, and I kind of want to have, before you set any colors, you can see, like, the defaults. And us setting it like this, instead of it having just reusing the gray, we can make sure if something's working or not. I'm gonna continue on. 2.5 years. Portable DVD players, if it's a good one, that is a short lifespan. But, like, if it was, like, something cheap that you found, usually that's how long they last. It all depends on, like, how well it was taken care of and how long it was used. I'm not much of an electronic person, sadly, so I can't really help you, like, if it's, like, breaking on you. But, as you see, our background color is now, yellow. But what I might do instead... Nah, I'll leave it as is. And now when we do the foreground color, which will be this red tinted color, which I want to go here. Okay. Take the screenshot. Okay, welcome back. And yeah, explain what happened so I can try to better help you. And while you do that, I'm just gonna set this up. Set this to 0. And there we go. Right, boom. File, export. Gray colors. Now we're going to make a new sprite. Import image. Gray colors. Boom. Put this here. And then just place this in the scene and it won't fit. It's fine. I'll just move that out of the way. Make this like 10. And just place this here. What are you currently doing, Tails Reverie? If you don't mind me asking. Oh, my chair again. I'm gonna screenshot these colors. New. Sprite. Canvas size. 2000. There we go. I'm gonna grab this. Okay, how many colors are out? 5. So we're just gonna bring those in. Start a preview. Okay, so you put Sonic 1 into the DVD player. The movie. And what happened next? Oh, full pencils. I've always wanted one, but I don't like using Apple products. The only Apple product that I would reasonably use would be a like an iPad, since those are good for drawing. New palette from Sprite, boom. And now we got our red color. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this. And now we're going to go into effects. Replace every BG with FG. This is going to be a long, long process. Paramount, reading Ethan's comment, Paramount Home Entertainment logos plays, and nothing bad happens yet. Okay. And the reason why we're making these all FG in a separate object is because we can't copy and paste this and just put it in, since it will yell at us. So having it like this is all fun. Alrighty. PG, and then after nothing. It's, Ethan, from that situation, it could be a multiple of things. It could be the DVD itself. DVDs are not the most resilient thing on the planet. It could be the DVD player, but it's most likely the DVD. If I were you, I'd try another DVD you have that you know that works. And that would be a good way to see if it was working. But right now, we are replacing all of these gray colors with our red. And we're just going down the line. The reason why I say it could be the DVD itself is, when I was younger, at my grandma's house, she had a Wii and a few games. Me and my cousins have always played, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. We were kids, we probably didn't take the best care of the disc, and plus we used it so much, it eventually got scratched up, and then we couldn't really play it. So that could be what happened to your DVD player. And I am changing the wrong colors. How long have I been? Oh god, I've been doing it for a while. Alrighty. Yeah, but, since it played a bit, it is most likely something on the DVD not working. It could be scratched, stuff like that. It sucks, but, that's just the nature of DVDs and how they store information. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really like this playlist, but I don't like changing, my songs mid, stream, so I'm just gonna relax with it. Uh, strange. I would try another DVD you have on that DVD player, and if it still has the same issue, then you know, something's up. Okay, hopefully... Why are you not... Oh yeah, because... Duh. So we're gonna copy all of these effects. Copy all. Apply. And go to effects. And paste. And it puts the reds at the bottom. That's good. That's what I wanted. Hmm. Okay. Now, going back here to our thing with the guys, we want like a green color. So I'm gonna go to Sprite, Edit, Adjustment, Hue and Saturation. Make that like a greenish blue color. Uh, this isn't working. What are you trying to do, Tales of Reverie? Huh. Interesting conversation. Okay. Time to replace these new colors with our green. Just so it's separate from a red color that we accidentally had on about half of these. And so we know it works. Uh, uh, yeah, iGeek. It sounds like a cheap brand, sadly. Usually cheap stuff. If you use it a lot, it doesn't tend to last. Um, I've had that happen with a lot of things, sadly. That's just the nature of how, you know, materials and physics work. Okay. Apply. So now our Sonic should be green. Yep. Everything that is not touching the green water is displaying the correct colors, and as you see under the water, it displays these colors. What I'm going to do, I got this here, image, Image size, 50%. There we go. So that should be able to fit on the screen. No problem. File, export, quick export as. View large icons. Yes. What we're going to do is grab this, place it under the water. Right now what we're going to do is remove it from our object group. Apply. And now we can read... That displays the yellow color. That means it's not actually under the water. The water is 5. I made that 5, so let's make that 3. There we go. Now we see all the colors that are actually under the water. Okay. What did you find, Ethan? I'm gonna delete this game output too. Save the project and duplicate this. Now everywhere it says normal, we replace with alt. This is going to be the most tedious process on the planet since I gotta do this 32 times. Just going through. Go make sure all that is displaying correctly. Some of these I still had some part of effect on it. But we're just going, stuff like that. We're in the foreground, we're about halfway there. We'll just keep on going. And there we go. Debug mode isn't a thing on Sonic CD, the Origins version. It probably wasn't a thing in the mobile version, so therefore it's not a thing in Origins. Did you know that Amy outdated Tails in the manga? And did you know that Knuckles the Hedgehog, Nicky? Oh! Yeah, I'm confused. I got too focused in this, and then I just lost thought. Alrighty. We got our colors here. So we're gonna go here. Don't save. File. New. Boom. Image. Actually, no. Your palette from Sprite. Okay. So now we got these colors. I remember I think his name was actually Nicky. That, he turns into Sonic. Yeah. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, it was early. I think it was, Japan exclusive, maybe? I'm not fully sure. But I know what you're talking about now. And there we go. Back down. Doing all of these colors for the third time. Okay. So in theory, when we're finished with this, everything will be working tip-top shape, and then we could dynamically change these colors via the variables. But, we could change the colors, yes, but to do a fading system, either we change the colors per frame of the fade, which that is not recommended. That is very time-consuming and unoptimized. You can have a bunch of math do it for you. Okay. Apply that. We're going to go back here, add new sprite, back to sprites. Now we can see it here. Okay. I'm going to delete that. File new. Okay. Sprite. No, I go here. New palette from sprite. Boom. And now we got these colors. Yeah, they have hints of red in them. And that's what we want. Because if we didn't have those hints of red, we wouldn't be able to just do these. Okay. Now we're here. Okay. About the music, I hate to pause. Oh. That makes sense. I was thinking like vaporwave stuff. With this, like webcore, stuff like that. Helps if I read titles. Okay. I'm gonna continue. Ooh, my throat's getting dry. Stay hydrated, please. Staying hydrated is one of the most important things you can do in your life. It's just, yeah, stay hydrated, please. Since, it benefits you a lot. It helps you stay awake, helps you feel more energized, makes you feel better, and yeah. And if you're sick, orange juice, is a really good thing to, like, consume. That's something I learned from one of my friends. Might do a collab, with them one day. I would just have to find a game. Alrighty. Okay. All of these are now taken care of. So we go here. Okay, now we want a blue color. So we go back to Ace Sprite, go here, edit, adjustments, hue and saturation. And you get this like blue color here. Alrighty. So now we go back up. And then we do the exact same thing all over again. But instead of with the old color, well, or original color, we're doing it with the new color. This is the most tedious thing I've done, but it's sadly something that has to be done. You can't do like actual good stuff unless you have like some things that you don't like, or that just seem rough, or seem tedious, or just seem long to do to make work. Yes, you'll later find out a way to optimize it. But yeah. Okay. We're almost there. And after this, we want more of a pinkish color. Boom. And then, boom. Just edit. Adjustments, hue and saturation. No, not hue and saturation. Adjustments. There, hue and saturation. Whoops. Edit. Adjustments, hue and saturation. There we go. Get that to like a pinkish color. There we go. Yeah, I remember. I think you watched the same video I did. That video gives out so much information. If they have more time, I'm sure of it. They would make that grand game. If they were to make that grand game, it'd probably outperform Sonic 3, like in game size alone. But you know, they got limitations of the Sega Genesis cartridge, and like, you know, the system itself. Sonic and Knuckles was split up from that. All because of a silly McDonald's promotion. But you can only fit so much on a cartridge, sadly. If they like were to like remake Sonic 2, kind of like they do their like own Sonic 2 HD or whatever like that, I hope they go back and add a lot of the scrapped stuff. You're trying to extract a RAR file, Tales of Reverie. That should be very simple to do. What system are you on? Copy all effects, apply, go here. See if there's anything that's broken. Effect. Remove that. EF pal. Oh, Mac. I can't help you on Mac. I don't use Mac. I don't want to sound, I don't want you to take offense to this, but I really hate Mac. It is one of the most limiting platforms you could use. Alright. So, in theory, 64 effects on here. None of these colors are goofy. But it works. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is wrong. So I'm gonna go back here, go to effects. Oh, it takes a while to load now. So I'm gonna head to pink, go to color 8. And it will set to -3? That's strange. Does me changing that off of -3 do anything? Yes, it does. Alright. We fixed it. I don't know how it became, -3. We're gonna apply that. Now we can delete this extra thing. Yes. And then delete this new sprite. Because now, in theory, we could stop here. You could change all the colors via the effects. That is something you can do, yes, but it is very tedious. And also, it's just his looks. Not the best, since you know colors that don't fit Green Hill Zone. Besides Sonic's green head. But yeah, I'm gonna call today's stream here, because my throat is really starting to kill me. Like I said, stay hydrated. I'll probably make a short video in a few days, like, debriefing about what I've done since the stream. And next stream, I'm going to be playing Sonic Rumble. But overall... wait, okay, I'll wait, Tails Reverie. Yes, Sonic Rumble is... I'm not playing it in a stream based on, like, game dev, but I'll be doing it next stream. But, that'll be all for today's stream. I'm glad you guys were able to join. And if you do enjoy what you're watching, this, you know, tedious thing, which I hope it won't be as tedious for next video on it. If you do enjoy it, like, subscribe. It means a lot to me, helps me grow the channel. Brings more confidence when I'm making this. But that's all. And that will be the end of the stream. Goodbye, everyone.